Likutei Moharan, Torah Chavtes, we are holding by Seif Vov. This is a continuation where, where Rabbeinu keeps on repeating how that principle of the whiteness has to be brought down to the Malchus through all the Gidim, through all the blood vessels, the spiritual blood vessels, which is a symbolic name for the 365 prohibitions of the Torah. And therefore they become red. And what you need to do is you need to whiten them. And whitening them is done through, I like a serious spoon of coffee in my coffee. Like, get me up and running. Alrighty, so it says, because mashlo tiken tikkun haklali, which is, the overall whitener that injects whiteness and atonement and slicha and kapara to all the red aspects. Why are your garments red? Bivchinas dam nida. When that is the situation, azaya dibur osa, then speaking is forbidden. In other words, what is forbidden then is to reveal the Torah mysteries, Kabbalah. That's what the Zohar says. B'yamoid Reb Shimon, during the lifetime of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, the dibur was allowed because Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, achieved tikkun haklali, achieved kedusha sabris, betachlis hashlemus. It says in the Gemara, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai asked that the keshes, that the rainbow was never appeared during the days of Shimon Bar Yochai. Keshes sabris is a euphemism for the Ois Bris Kodesh. And Reb Shimon Bar Yochai was so kodesh, was so sanctified, Dishas Abris, that the rainbow did not show during his days. That's why Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says, me and my son can absolve the entire generation from din, from judgment. And he said, even if my son wasn't with me, just me alone, I can absolve the entire generation from judgment. Judgment, as we say, is redness. Kedusha sabris is whiteness. So in other words, b'yamoid Reb Shimon, when Reb Shimon was around, what was during his lifetime, Haya dibur motor, speaking, in other words, revealing the secrets of the Torah, was allowed. Shene'emar ptach picho v'yoyri dvorecha. He says, open your mouth, this is the pasuk, open your mouth and let your sayings, let your words shine. He says, Basar Yemoid Reb Shimon, after the days of Reb Shimon, the dibur was asa. And it brings a pasuk, Shene'emar, Hoylech Rochil, going gossiping, Megal Soid. That somebody who reveals Seiris HaTorah when it's inappropriate, when it's not allowed, is Bivchinas Hoylech Rochil. He is like a gossiper. He's causing damage. Because we have to understand that when when a person gives over Sodas HaTorah, the Dibur B'chlal, Enochinami, the mouth itself receives from the Moach. That's the Malchus of the Moach, okay? But whenever you give over to somebody else something that he didn't know before, in that relationship, there's the entire 10 spheres. You are mashpia to him. He is the Malchus, and you are, in your mind is all the Chokhmah Bina Das, and your ability to explain whatever, that's the 7 Sefirot from Chesed to Yesod, and you're mashpia to him. He is the Malchus. Your mouth is your Malchus, from your brain to your mouth. But when it goes out, you are from Chokhmah all the way to the Yesod, and whoever it is, the receiver, is the Malchus, it's the receiver. Now, Amen. Rabbeinu explains that when a person davens without kavana, is b'chinas pgam bris. It's like pgam bris, yes. Why? Because the content of the brain, in other words, the kavana, is disconnected with the keli, with the malchus, with the dibur. What is pgam bris? When the content of the brain, the zera, does not go into the designated malchus that belongs to it, that is mikudesh to it, that is sanctified for him. So for a man, it's his wife, and for inside the person, it's his mouth and his thought. It's the same process. It's a mashpia and a makabel. So the Rebbe says when the dibur is not, you're not connecting the dibur, what you're saying, to your mind. It's like pagam bris. You're throwing your words levatala. So the Torah, we said that anybody who throws away breadcrumbs, poverty runs after him. So how much more, the Zohar said, a person who throws away mind crumbs. And this you can correspond to actually, obviously, pgam bris. And then it says, how much more so anybody who throws away Torah crumbs. Torah crumbs is Sodas HaTorah. If you say them, you give them to Madonna, or people who are not worthy, it's pgam bris. It says, during the days of Reb Shimon, the dibur was mutter. Because everybody that came to Reb Shimon was vetted carefully, to make sure that he's worthy. And during the Idra, Reb Shimon says, this and this and this is when get out, these stay in, you sit here, you sit there, whatever. Everything was only those that were right to be mekabel, that were worthy to receive, they stayed and they received. So the Bechlal, because Reb Shimon was in the generation, he was totally holy, so the dibur was mutter. After the days of Reb Shimon, the dibur was awesome, because the Kedushas HaBris wasn't there. This, B'fchinas ne'elamti dumio, I became muted in silence. In other words, me'ela domim, from these domim, these bloods, nasa b'chinas dumio. Domim, in other words, the lack of Kedushas HaBris becomes silence. A person has to be ne'elamti dumio. The dibur is forbidden. The main dibur depends on tikkun haklali. He will tell you his bris. And in other words, in the bechina of yoged, of saying, he will tell you, is tolui the Shmiras HaBris. After Reb Shimon passed away, after Shimon passed away, so his Talmidim will tell one another, Al titen espicho leachtes besarecho. Don't let your mouth make your body sin. In other words, don't reveal the Solis of Torah Barabim. Why? Ki Reb Shimon hoyo keshes abris. Reb Shimon was the embodiment of the rainbow of the covenant. As he said, there was no rainbow during his days. And the rainbow, as we just said, symbolizes the bris. In other words, he was zecher to tikkun a bris with utter perfection. B'fchinas vayoged achedes brisa. He told you his bris. So the bris was there, so vayoged lachem was there. If the bris is proper, you can talk, you can megal solis haTorah. Hainu klolius hagidim, the totality of the gidim. He was the totality, the tikkun bris of his entire generation. Klolius hagidim, not all of his, but of everybody's. Ukshe'en tikkun kloli, but tikkun does not exist. As I had diber osir, then talking is forbidden. B'fchinas ne'elamti dumiyah. What needs to be done is remain silent. B'fchinas al titen espicha kanal. Don't let your mouth, make your body sin. U'mishu medaber az, and anybody who talks then, and says, everybody has to learn Kabbalah, it's a tikkun olam, it's okay, no problem. You can be a goy, you can be a zoyner, you can be anything, just fine, just give it over, no problem. Kshe'en tikkun hakloli, hu oiver Allah selech rochel be'amecha. You should not go around gossiping amongst your nation. Why? Rochel is mishon roichel. Rochel is a traveling salesman. In those days, they'd come with a donkey. In the donkey, they had all kinds of pots and pans and perfumes and whatever it is. And they would go from one to all the women would come and they would buy from him whatever it is. It was called roichel. Roichel. What is roichel? What is the profession of roichel? He buys over here and he goes and sells over there. What is a gossiper? Somebody that purchases some ammunition, some juicy stuff to say, and goes and sells it elsewhere. It says, don't go mongering rechilas, mongering gossip. Don't go gossip mongering. That's what they said, a gossip monger, a seicher of gossip. Man, I got something. Listen to this. You'll never know what. Same thing, when you go to a guy and tell him, listen to this, I'm going to tell you, what were you talking about? The guy goes, oh, wow, you're so wise, man. This is alles. ומי שמדבר אז, כשאין תיקון הכללי, יעביר על סלח רוכל בעמך. והוא הולך רוכל מגל הסוד. He is a gossip monger, is somebody who is מגל of the mysteries. אבל זה says, בימוי Reb Shimon, during the days of Reb Shimon, when he was alive, one said to him, one time to him, open your mouth and let your words shine. In other words, they would tell the secrets of the Torah Barabim. Because when there is tikkun haklali, then the dibur is allowed. Ki adamim, which is in the Shechina, kvar nistaknu. They were already rectified, they were corrected. Bivchinas dam neko v'nasa chalav. The blood morphs, changes, and becomes milk. In other words, the redness goes away, and what? Be replaced by the white. It's white and bivchinas b'chol es יהיו בגדיך לבונים. At all time, your begodim, or begidecha, your garments, your blood vessels, they're all euphemism for the same inyan, will be white. This is alluded to in this pasuk in Tehillim, Leman yizamecha chavod v'lo yidam. May honor, will sing for you, v'lo yidam, and will never be silenced, will never be muted. Kavod ze b'chinas begodim. We already said that the kavod is the begodim. In other words, that's the Shechina. The Shechina is the kavod l'Kodesh Baruch Hu. This is begodim shenislabnu mibchinas madu adon v'shecha, that they become whitened after being madu adon v'shecha. Why are your garments red? Mibchinas dam nida. They were redeemed from dam nida. And if once it's redeemed from dam nida, ad b'chinas lo yidam, then you don't keep silent. Why? Because whiteness comes in the bloods, in the redness. Dripping from the source of whiteness, from the moyach. Then the talk is allowed. Open your mouth. In the very beginning, in the Akdama of Pasuk Rabbi Shimon before Likutei Moharan, when the Rebbe says, Sod Migdulas Atana Eloki Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, secret from the greatness of Shimon Bar Yochai. So we see that Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is able to say that bezoyer, belimud hadah, that's the Sefer HaZoyer, Am Yisrael will come out of Galus. All the Chachamim say, V'anochi aster, that's the nevuah, that I shall double hide, I will conceal the Torah, and the fact that I conceal the Torah itself will be concealed. That's the famous Astora shebetoch Astora. Afil betoch Astura shebetoch Astura. Even the Schwarzes in Williamsburg know that. Betoch Astura shebetoch Astura. The hiding within the hiding. In other words, there's a secret. You don't even know that there's a secret. A secret, Baal Tanya says that there's something you don't know. But a secret within a secret, you don't even know that there's a secret. So there's no chance of ever finding out. So Chachamim said, the Torah will be forgotten from Israel. Shimon says, Shelo tishtokach. For it will never be forgotten from the mouth of his offsprings. L'chora, those two nevuos are right next to one another. We spoke about it quite a few times. Are right next to one another. Being that Anochi Aster, Kodesh Baruch Hu says there'll come a time when the Torah, the limud the Torah, the chshivas of limud the Torah will be double hidden. Anybody who sits alone in Torah will be considered a leech, a pariah. You're sending your woman to work and you're sitting and learning. You're taking money from the Medina. You don't even serve in the army. So anybody who learns Torah will be a euphemism for a batlan, for somebody who wastes his time and is just is a pariah, he's leeching off, he's sucking the blood of society. They don't know that everybody lives because of him. On his shoulders, the entire world rests. No, but he is the leech. He is. And Shimon says that it will not be forgotten. And the Rebbe finishes, in the Ashmata that was taken off because of all the Machlekes was in Breslev. It says, now there's Nachal Neveh Mekor Chochmah, that even the Ir V'Kodesh Mishmai Nochos, which Rashi Teves Shimon, even Reb Shimon Bar Yochai has to receive from him. And people don't understand what does it mean. So immediately they put it in what they call the American test. What do you mean? That you're the top dog? You're better than Shimon Bar Yochai? You mean like a one-on-one game. You're going to beat him. You're not going to whoop him. You're going to take basketball. You're going to take him to the court, and you're going to beat him one-on-one. You mean what the Shimon Bar Yochai is saying? Hastora shebetoch hastora means this is the subtle places where the kilkulim go. They are so subtle where the kilkul goes. The kaviochel, the spiritual blood vessels that are so thin that no tikkun can go there. That's why Chacham says, "Asida Tishitokach Misra." Hashem Bar Yochai, no. There's a tikkun haklali. B'yamoy de Reb Shimon, the Keshes was not revealed. In the Zohar Kodesh, Am Yisrael will go out of the Galus. Because the Zohar Kodesh represents the tikkun haklali. Up to a point. Because the Zohar Kodesh says, that for Takr, while Reb Shimon is alive, he can pater the entire world from the din. Right? Yeah. The dibur is mutter, everything is okay. Which means, when Reb Shimon is alive, the tzaddik is alive, he can throw tikkunim to the astor shebetoch astor, the hiding within the hiding. And he says, and that particular koyach is embedded in the Zohar Kodesh. But even in the Zohar Kodesh it says that tshuva helps for everything except gamabres. And we went through the whole explanation why, because the moyach is the originator of all the averim. So even spiritually, so if one aver, one spiritual limb is a person did an avera, he can make tshuva. What does it mean tshuva? He can go back to the source of the moyach and pull lavnunia's whiteness and whiten out the redness that he has put through his avera. But what happens if you damage the moyach? You damage the brain. You damage the very source of lavnunias. So the Zohar says that on that avera, tshuva doesn't help. Arizal says that you need 84,000 fastings. And even this is not total tikkun. Until Rabbeinu HaKadosh came. Rabbeinu was Megala Tikkun HaKlali. And Tikkun HaKlali is done with dibur. You're saying that to him. Rabbeinu says even if you're not mechavan to whatever it is, the dibur alone does it. Why the dibur should do? What is some kind of a magic? What is this? What is it? Is this like a Reader's Digest, a condensed version of the entire Tehillim, these 10 prakim? These 10 prakim are a key. Inside the key, there's Rabbi Nachman ben Fege ben Simcha. There's the tzaddik. The difference between Anachal Neveh Mekor Chochmah and all the others like him, even Reb Shimon, is there's a difference by Reb Shimon in the days of Reb Shimon. And Basar Yomoy de Reb Shimon, and after the days of Reb Shimon. You see, during the days of Reb Shimon, speaking was allowed. After the days of Reb Shimon, speaking is no longer allowed. But Rabbeinu says, I want to do something that will, a tikkun, says all the tzaddikim with the mistalik, the tikkun goes up with them. Says, I want to make something that will remain here. In other words, that keshes, the tikkun hakloli that Rabbi Nachman ben Fege, the Heilige Nachal Neveh Mekor Chochmah planted, is already forever. A tikkun that gets into all the subtlest. In other words, what it does. So what does Rabbeinu say about this? The Zohar says it doesn't help. Rabbeinu says nobody knows how to learn this Zohar except for me. In other words, the key to unlocking the capacity of the Zohar to bring tikkun haklal, to bring whiteness to all the averis, to pater the ganze oil from the din, that was available during the days of Reb Shimon and was concealed after Reb Shimon was mistalik, that key is the Nachal Neveh Mekor Chochmah. That's why he said, and now, Baruch Hashem, there's Nachal Neveh Mekor Chochmah, that even the Ir Kodesh has to receive from him. You have to get into Reb Shimon Bar Yochai through the Nachal Neveh Mekor Chochmah. Then you can receive all the tikkunim of Reb Shimon. That the Lafnunius will come to all the Gidim. And then the Dibur is mutter. Dafka, what is the Ikar Tikkun of Rabbi Nachman? Is the Dibur, it's by the Dus.
To the Malchus?
Yes. Bezat Hashem, to be continued.